Okay, good afternoon. Um, as usually, I need to apologize for my lack of Hungarian language. So the only thing I can say is jó napot kívánok. So you have to stick with my version of English. My name is Miroslav. I'm from Czech Republic, working for Force Point. Already, it will be 9 years. Actually, the Force Point is like a 1.5 year old. So I was working for the WebSense, which changed to the Force Point kind of recently. So today I will be talking about protecting the human point, and this is the name of my presentation. But technically, it will be a little bit controversial a topic because it might be a protecting the human point, which is something that we like to point, but some people may consider it as spying on humans. Okay, and I will try to explain a little bit why. From those that already have been on my colleague's presentation near Balaton, you may see this slide about the hacker's economy, and I don't really want to talk about why the number is here and there. Technically, the only reason why I'm showing it is that there are money behind your companies, and it's not only that you are a bank or you are an insurance company where the money are maybe bigger that you have to protect, but you may also be in my recent example, a waste management company, a company that was just collecting the garbage from the city and transferring it to the dump sites. I mean, what can this company protect? And they never care about it until the point where they realize that every time they go to the next city to negotiate the results, they got a answer that your competition was here 2 weeks ago and they give us exactly 5% less than you, and so sometimes it's not only the hackers that are trying to steal your money. Sometimes it's also the internal people. And obviously, I took this slide from some Ernst and Young research, and you probably guess what's next. These employees are on the second level of the inside of the threats for the company. So it's not only the hackers externally that we can protect by firewalls and antiviruses and other things, but somehow we need to start protecting about the internal people. Just today morning, I read the story that actually originating from Kaspersky and in Russia, where during one day, a specific Russian bank lost $800,000. Okay, probably in rubles, it was a bigger number. And nobody even touched the ATM machines where the money was stolen, simply because they got a person inside the bank that give them the access to the ATM machines. They put the code inside, and just in the moment when somebody was passing by, the ATM machine just show all the money that it has inside, and guys just collecting the money and go away. And that happens during that night on several locations, and money was gone. So the insider threat is a real thing, and if you combine it with a situation when, and we are talking about it, us security vendors talking about it a long time, and the guys from Volkir behind me was talking about mobile devices. Everything is about the perimeter is gone, no more borders that you can protect, build better walls with more thick things. So that's the situation, but also the problem is who to choose. I mean, this is just a list of the security vendors. So if you are choosing a security product, you don't have a simple and easy task, I believe you. So what we What is the topic of today? The WebSense, and currently the ForcePoint, was the leader in DLP, data leakage protection. You may know our product. We sold it successfully in Hungary many times. And we combined together with the Raytheon to create a ForcePoint. And the Raytheon was a leader in user behavior, in insider threat. Okay, but these two kind of products, they always been like there was a gap between, which we are now trying to bridge. We currently have these two products. They are kind of separate. DLP is doing its job, insider threat is doing its job. However, we are trying to bridge these things to have a combined approach, okay? Because the logic is pretty simple. Okay, this slide is not important. This is a little bit more important. The DLP is actually looking for the data that are moving. We know what data are sensitive. We somehow mark them, tag them, fingerprint them, machine learned them, do some magic around, and then are looking on the different ways they are moving away or into the company and detecting it. And during this detection, we also see the person that is doing it. Okay, but primary focusing on the data. In the insider threat, we are looking on the people, on their behavior. Do they behave normally? Do they behave in anomalies? If they do behave anomaly, let's look at what kind of data they are using. Okay, and you can see this circle closing. So having a DLP and insider threat is actually a very perfect match to make a more gaps closed in where this data can cause a problem in our company. So what we actually have, or what we are offering at the moment since last year, is a product that is called ForcePoint Insider Threat. I forgot to remove the Sure View, which was the original name in the Raytheon times, but it's called ForcePoint Insider Threat. The shortcut is FIT. So if you see that in our page, you will be familiar with it. We recently renamed every product. We are very good in renaming products. That's something we do very often from some reason, but currently we have the name ForcePoint Insider Threat. No matter that the name was changed, the product stays the same, except of new logos. And we are, of course, developing it. The product is actually being developed since year 2001, when the Raytheon started to protect themselves, and then the other American government organizations and large corporations. And at the moment, we have the product actually deployed on over 1 million installations, endpoints, which is interesting because it's only actually US, because only since last summer, it was released to the rest of the world. The product is because it's widespread, we can be sure that this product is very stable and is actually already saw all the possible combinations of usage and hardware where it is deployed. So we are pretty confident that this product is good. But what this product is actually doing, what I would like to do in the rest minutes, and I try to squeeze it as much as possible because we are a little bit delayed, as I heard. I will just show you what the product is about. Okay. In short, it is the endpoint solution. So you need to install something on the endpoint. Supported is Windows, Macintosh, some flavors of Linux. You can install it, and then you are collecting the events which may trigger some sort of incidents, and the collection is happening on the collector servers. What we are looking for is actually not really super specific. You can monitor the keyboard, you can monitor the applications, what web page you are visiting, what kind of emails you are sending, what kind of processes you are running in your user context or in your computer context, depending on how the people are logging in, logging off, what is the system run situations. So there is a standard, I would say, stuff that you can monitor. Okay, this is not anything special. A little bit more interesting is the possibility to cooperate with third-party applications and third-party products and feeds. Like we can read data from CM. We can, of course, read user directories, but that's sort of obvious. We can integrate with things like the batch records. Okay, so for example, we can have information about how the people are actually moving within the company. So with their badge, with their pass, when they are opening the doors, we can have this information, link it to this user, and basically have a proof, have incidents that we can investigate, and we can actually see if the user physically was inside in the place where the incident was happening. Okay, so it's also important to gather all this information into one point and then generate the profile of the user. This is sort of secret sauce, not the fact that we can monitor the keyboard or we can monitor the applications. That's sort of normal. What I think is important is really to put this into the context of what the user is doing and how we can create some sort of scoring. Because the purpose of the insider threat is not give you any blocking stuff. So we cannot actually block anything as of now. We will not make sure that nobody will run a malware on his computer. No. The first result that you get from the product is a list of risky people. I will show you a little bit later how it looks like, but that's the one and main purpose. Technically, as I said, is the endpoint installed on the computers, which is communicating to the collector box that we're gathering the forensics and the incidents informations, and also the videos. If we want, we can record everything that is happening on the desktop, everything the human can see. And from that collectors, we have the central server where we can calculate the risks that these persons are posing to our company. And of course, there is some sort of dashboard that is showing us. There is a many use cases where we can use it. You know, obviously, if you will be targeted more to the protection kind of stuff, so we can find out a malicious insiders. We can find out the people that are trying to do some sort of sabotage or fraud. Okay, but also if you are more about monitoring, which is also the possibility, you can look into the things like a workplace violence or harassment, which is not visible on the first sight. Okay, so all these situations can be covered. My experience is that in Hungary, after the year of talking with the customers and partners, the most interesting for the country is usually the fraud detection in the financial institutions, and also the malicious insiders in the rest of the situations. I don't think it's a very much demand about the harassment or sexual violence, whatever may happen in the workplace, but that's also possible to configure. Giving you the quick view on the interface. This is the management console. I will show you the real example a little bit later, but this view is something that you are seeing let's say every morning when you are opening the console, okay, you have the list of 12, it's a little bit more down, by default, list of 12 most risky people in your organization. That's the, let's say, helicopter view result that you get. You can see that there are some users that have risk score. I need to find my mouse. You can see the score here, which is from 0 to 9.9, which is showing how risky the user is compared to the others. Okay, and you have some top incidents. I don't know if you can read it, but it's not that important at the moment. Clicking on one of these persons, you can take a look into the more detailed results. So you still get the score 6.1, okay, which is giving you information about the severity and what kind of, if you hover the mouse over the rings, it will give you a little bit more information about what kind of incidents was counted inside this risk. And on the right side, you have all the events that was collected. Okay, it might be few events, it might be a lot of events. It depends what actually you are monitoring. There can be a lot of different channels that you do or do not monitor, depending on what you actually want to see. Because this product is pretty powerful in the way of what it can get. You know, it can read everything that the user is typing. It can see every web page was rendered. It can record a video on any event that we want. So from this perspective, it's kind of big brother stuff, and it's not a simple product to deploy and explain to your users why they should be monitored by this product. But I'm always saying that this is just one side of the coin, because the other side of the coin is the situations where you got infected by the malware, and probably a lot of people before me told you how easy it is today to get infected. And no matter how good or bad the users are educated, they just get infected. That's the fact, and we have to do something about it. And one of the situation is that the person get infected without their knowledge, just clicking on the very nice looking link, which is not suspicious at all, get a ransomware, get a malware, whatever, keylogger. And then during the investigation, this person is maybe blamed by a substantial financial loss to the company. But this tool can actually prove that this guy has no defense. He just clicked on something that looks absolutely legit. It might be a business-related link, just with the malware inside. Okay? Can we really blame that person about the damage that he did to the company by encrypting half of the storage in the company? Probably not. But where is the proof? You know, how are we proving that this guy did nothing wrong? And this application is one of the things that can help you. Okay, can really prove the innocence. And that's what I'm using always when I'm explaining it to the non-IT people. But this is not only about the monitoring, it's also about protection. This guy that is here did something in opposite, okay? He basically, the story about this slide is that this guy got an email about layoffs in company, so there's a high chance he will be fired. And after this information, he just replied by the email, which is monitored as one of the events. And then he started to look for a new job, rendering some web pages. None of it is anyhow interesting and important. None of it is something that you should blame him for. But then after he sent this email, and this is the output of our enterprise application suite, as we call it. So there is the place where you can see the details of the incidents. Show you a little bit later. This guy was looking for the monster.com for the different job, and all this was recorded. But again, this is nothing that we can blame him for. But the next thing he did was that he downloaded a software. In this case, it was software called Software Informer, and he installed it to his computer and start. Software Informer is software that is keeping the gate open and get all the information about the computer, even if you are not at the computer. Of course, this guy may claim that it was some sort of error. He didn't know what he's doing. He got a link from somebody. The typical excuses of these guys. And you want to prove him that he did it intentionally. And then you obviously have this video that he downloaded it, triggering an incident. Another incident was running the software. Another incident was, installing it, clicking OK, clicking OK. This is not a coincidence. This is not that it was installed itself somehow magically. You have a proof that this guy was doing it on purpose. Only with this information about these incidents, together with the looking for a new job, together with replying to the email that he is pissed off for the current layoffs in the company, you have the full pictures and motivation, and you can start investigation for that person, and you would have all the forensics that you need to accuse him of doing bad things. Obviously, you need to have it covered legally. Should not monitor the employees without their knowledge. But that's illegal stuff. We may put it aside for a moment. So after all this information, obviously, it's near impossible for this guy to just excuse himself doing it unknowingly. So what is our credentials about the product? It's a little bit a repetition of what I was showing before. Technically, it's very much scalable because it doesn't really matter how much people is in your organization. We can scale it indefinitely, and we have customers with several tens of thousands of end users, and I think we have some of them, which is over 250,000 users monitored by the system. Which, by the way, it's important, and I forgot to mention a thing that definitely out of the box, you don't want to monitor everybody for everything. Okay? But there are some included situations, including analytics, that will pinpoint the risky persons, and you automatically, after rising their risk score, you can apply the more strict rules to them. So without managing each person, if he is risky or not, very automatically you can do that on background and enable and disable the very sensitive rules on a specific people. This is happening on background. Of course, it's a good idea to put it together with a DLP solution. And I just skip something. And again, going to that slide where you can combine it ideally with our solution, but of course, we can do it also with any other DLP solution. And feed each other system with the data from the latter. What we are doing now in preparation is the unified endpoint. We will unify the DLP endpoint and this insider threat endpoint to a single point that we would like to release by the end of this year, and be able to basically also block the people based on their behavior, which will allow us the DLP component. I will now show you a little bit of the walkthrough to the application. I hope my internet will work. Okay. So I'm logging into the dashboard. Okay, that's a console that the admin will see. We can have some organizational risk score trend, so we can see how the risks are, varying throughout the company. And you can see as the last day there is a very low risk of something. There is just somebody called Mark Blumsma and he sent an email. This is a demo, so not many relevant data, but today was pretty easy. What I would like to show is maybe this day where is some incidents. And the first of them, we will take a look at this score, 3.0, which is relatively low. Okay, this is actually my colleague Stefano Artioli. He was doing something and looking for his events that he passed through. Everything is pretty green, nothing problematic, except we can see here I copied 4 files. Okay, later on another 2 files, another files. So some of the files were copied. If you look into his score, which is 3 and it's not very big, we actually didn't trigger any incident. There was no policy defined saying that I want to block or monitor people copying files. No. These files, however, were much higher were copied in much higher rate than the rest of the organization. It's the demo, so it's not that relevant, but in that situation, that example, these guys were copying 93 times more, or 93.2% more of the copies of the files. So that's why he got in that list. So even before he basically break any rule or something, he got suspicious. Maybe it is his daily job. Maybe he is an admin who's, copying the files. So maybe we can take a look into the file. We can get a information about the file was copied. So we can see that he copied this document, was release patch information from hard drive to the terminal service client. Okay, so he within the terminal services he copies the incident, the file. Clicking on this button, I can actually open the application suite. Which led me to log in. And will actually show me the details about the incidents. So I can see when it happens, what happens, what the file was, where is the destination, what's the file name, and maybe and this is the application name that allow it, and maybe some forensics data about the file. So the file is actually included, and I can take a look at some additional properties. Again, as I said, there is no breaking of the rules. It's just because he did it so many times. Also, I can see here that he break no policy events. He break no rules. He just counted. If I'm going back to the same day, okay, except of Stefano, I also have this guy, administrator guy. But this is a different story a little bit now, okay? So this guy, he actually breaks some rules. And you can see it by this exclamation mark. He actually started some processes. Yeah, probably you are watching it. Okay, looking a little bit more down. Okay, here It's interesting. He window title changed 2 times, and it violated the remote desktop detection policy. All right, sounds interesting. Maybe he doesn't have right to do that. Maybe he is doing the remote desktop to somewhere where he should not. So again, I'm clicking on this icon here, looking into the incidents. I'm now logged in, so I don't have to log in again. So I have this information about which application was used. This is the Microsoft Terminal Services, some other stuff. But at this moment, the most important thing is the video replay. So I will open up my video replay pane. I will move the slider. And now you can see what is happening. Just pay attention on this red line here. This is the incident time. That's when the incident happens. Okay, the video is rolling actually before the incident happens. So he's trying to open something, trying to look. You can watch his work before the incident. Now he's logging off, logging somewhere else, opening up desktop, remote desktop, logging in. Okay, it's getting close. He's trying to log in, and now he broke the policy because he logged in, and we detected actually that he logged into another remote desktop, but to the IP address that was not approved. Okay, so this IP address should not be accessed even if he has rights. Maybe it's in a different time, maybe he is not in the right rule, whatever. And the video runs another few minutes after the incidents. Obviously, in order to be able to catch the video, the endpoint agents are buffering the video all the time, and in the time of detection, it will look up the policy, see how long actually we want the video before incident, and he stores this video to these collector servers. Okay, then we can just watch what this guy was doing and why he actually did that with a proper proof of the video. Okay, he did, of course, some other stuff later on, which is all here seen on the data. So that's what I wanted to show you. I don't want to show you anything more. There is a lot of things to show: how to create the policies, how to create the endpoint agents, how to deploy it, what is possible to configure. But if you want to see more, just please visit me on the booth. I can show it in more details there. In the sake of time and the sake of the later presentators, I will try to keep it short here. But I will be pleased if you have any questions around the product. I'm just around the corner out of this room. So you can try to visit me. We can have a chat. In that moment, I would like to thank you very much for your attention and enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you very much.